I don't know. You like it, huh? It just gets to me. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the letter E. We're in the alphabet, folks, like Sesame Street. Welcome back to Defending My Collection, the video series where I go through all my Blu-rays, A to Z, and basically show them off and talk a little bit about each movie that I feel a little appropriated to talk about. And you know the routine. The real familiar ones I'm not going to go into unless it springs some little story of when I first saw it. I'll probably stay a little more on the obscure ones if I have any. Well, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'm here ready to get primed. It's very steamy out. I just had to turn the air off, but I got the fan going, so I'm nice and cool. I actually got a looser shirt to wear. And I blowed my nose, so we shouldn't have any sniffly problems. But you never know. Anyway, I think we're going to break a record with the shortest video I ever did with the E's, because I only have a small stack. I think there's maybe less than 20 movies. Wow, 20 movies, all E's. Anyway, we'll go to the first one. This, if you were a little... if you were viewing behind me during the D's, you might have seen the gap and then what the E movie would have been, and if you were pretty clever, you probably picked it out right away. But the first E movie we got is E.T., the Extraterrestrial. And I believe this is the digitally remastered version with the slipcover, a lot of bonus things on here, and I think this has the original version without the walkie-talkies, but with the gun, or it might even have both versions on here. Again, I don't know. You've seen the movies online. You probably have that movie if you love it. Everybody has that. But I like it. It was one that I didn't pick up right away. I kind of waited for it to come down in price because I've had it on every piece of medium, other than Super 8. But I don't watch it much because it really does, just like with most people, it really does make you cry. I remember, bringing up stories. I remember seeing it for the first time. Actually couldn't get in the first time because it was sold out. So we went, got something to eat, came back a couple hours, waited in the long, long line. This was in Chicagoland at the Ford City Theater, which at that time was attached to the bowling alley, which is, neither one is no longer there because they closed the bowling alley, they threw the theaters out, and they moved them to a different area, and they were not as good. Because they were big screens, and it was at the time when they were cutting down the big theaters and making them all little. But anyway, we went and saw this, me and a few friends of mine, and we didn't know what to expect. Although a friend of mine probably did, because he did have a little box of Kleenex with him. Because at the scenes, where you think he's dying, or the scenes where he comes back to life and the flower, and then you got the ending, like, it'll be right there. Tears. I looked over, someone nudged me, and I look, and there's a tissue box. I look down at one of my friends, and he's just tearing and wiping, and we're kind of laugh. But it was that kind of a movie. It really swept you up and got you involved in the story. And so, like I said, I don't watch it much, but every once in a while you got the music, and it's just great. It's great. I remember the first time probably before I even bought it on VHS, I had some issues with the editing. It just seemed there were kind of some abrupt cuts that Spielberg did, but I don't know if it was like there were longer scenes that were edited out, but anyway, let's move on. The next movie, this is a very guilty pleasure. This is one, again, at the time it came out, I was like, hey, that sounds like a cool action flick. I think I'm going to get that. It's Blu-ray, 1080p, and I do have a little thing for Michelle Monaghan. So it was always nice to see her. Story is kind of, but if you want an interesting actioner, there's like 3 movies similar to this. But anyway, I'm talking about Eagle Eye with the Shia. Do it! He was very clever by doing that in front of a green screen. He must have known people were going to be putting him in everything. But anyway, Eagle Eye, not a bad little kind of fiction-y thing. It has some moments that I enjoy. Yeah, and that's all I'll really say about it. First time I saw it was on Blue. I didn't even rent it first. I just bought it. It was cheap when I got it, and So I bought it. Remember in the first video I was saying, I'm not going to talk about how much these things cost because it doesn't matter, because years and years and years later you might be watching this and something you thought have a good deal you're going to get now for $1. So, but I'm doing it. So there. Yeah, I did that already. Oh, here's the childhood favorite. Wow. I'm going to have to put this in sometime again because it's been a, well, since it came out was the last time I saw this, so I don't know when this was released on Blu. Might have been a few years ago. Saw this in the theater many times. When this movie, Earthquake with Charlton Heston and George Kennedy. George Kennedy. That's terrible, George Kennedy. Excuse the belch. This movie, when it originally came out, they actually installed in many theaters these gigantic phone booth size speakers, subwoofers, and they created this theater going sensation called Sensurround. And whenever the earthquake would happen, it felt like the theater was rumbling. It was that big. It was taking the breath out of you. The rumble, you felt it down in your lungs, and it was great. It really affected the viewing of the movie. It made it better than it really is. I mean, it's a cheesy 70s flick. For the time, the effects were pretty good. The destruction effects. And, you know, it's a little melodramatic. And it's got its kooky characters. And I like it. I like it. And I remember Sensurround had... they had a few movies that came out. There was Earthquake. There was... They didn't do it with Towering Inferno that I know. There was Battlestar Galactica, the original movie, the pilot that they released at the theaters, I guess to get some more money or to show, look at our thing and then watch the show on TV. But they did the Sensurround with that. But I think the second one I saw said, there was Midway, another Charlton Heston flick, that whenever the war scenes were on, they'd put the Sensurround, the subwoofers up. And then there was Roller Coaster. I think that was George... Oh my God, what is his name? George Papard? No, it wasn't George Papard. Anyway, Roller Coaster from the 70s. Go see it. Cool little soundtrack. I had it on album. I wore it out. I used to play that all the time. But yeah, whenever you're on the roller coaster or the roller coaster scenes, and there was a mad bomber that was bombing up things, of course, the subwoofers would come on, and you're in Sensurround, and it was a cool little effect. And now we have, what do they call that in the theaters where the whole seats move? I can't think of that new process they have. I haven't witnessed any of that because I think most of those theaters are in L.A. or the big cities like L.A., New York. I don't think there's one in Chicago. I think all we have here is like IMAX and Limax, the fake, not as big IMAX. Let's move on. Let's move on. This is great. This is great. You know, again, I said this before, even though this is a biopic, it's not really original, but it is an original movie by Tim Burton. Biopic. Was Edward Scissorhands a biopic? It was kind of about him. No. Tim Burton would make these very original movies when he first came out. You know, Pee-wee, Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands. And then he kind of got sidetracked lately, and he's just doing other people's work. Although he did do a full-length Frankenweenie, which I don't think was necessary. I have it in 3D, and it's good, but I like the short much better. Anyway, I'm talking about Ed Wood, the classic Ed Wood. Man, I'm not going to say much about this because you guys all know this movie. You know these performances. Academy Award, Martin Landau, man. Who'd have thought he'd make an excellent Bela Lugosi? And Johnny Depp is very pleasant in this movie. He's not irritant, and he doesn't, well, although it's black and white, I guess maybe his face is kind of gray, maybe. But anyway, you know, he's not hiding behind some weird makeup thing. And he's really good in this. They're all good in this. It's a great movie, and you need it for your collection if you don't have it. Ed Wood, hilarious. I'm going to stop. That's ridiculous. Okay, here's another one. I just saw this recently, like maybe like the first week of July. No, it was the end of. Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. Elysium. Had to get Elysium. Came down nice and cheap in price. Didn't see it at the theaters. Heard some mixed reviews about it. I loved District 9, and this had a lot of cool things in it, but it also had a lot of things I didn't like in it. Kind of head scratching, and but I'm glad I got it in the collection. It's entertaining. It's eye candy, and check it out if you haven't. I'm sure most people have seen that already. I brought this one up back when I was talking to him in the Seas about The Conversation with Gene Hackman, about how he did this movie, Enemy of the State, with Will Smith, and his character is very much like the character he played in The Conversation. When they meet up and they go to his like hideout, and it's all caged in, locked in, all the monitoring and just his character, the way he knows how to get around and do his little things. It's very reminiscent to the original character from The Conversation, and I kind of said that it's kind of like this is a pseudo sequel, even though it's not. It's his story, Smith's story, but the character from another movie gets involved, and I really liked it. This is this Tony Scott? Yeah, Tony Scott. Jerry Bruckheimer. People have problems with those, because they're just bombastic, loud. But I enjoyed the story. It was fun, and it has some nice eye candy for its time. And like I said, it's got the hack. Who's no hack? He's a great actor. He's one of our great actors who's retired, didn't he? Didn't he retire? I think so. He's building a house before Clint Eastwood comes by and shoots him. This is a classic, a must-have in any collection. Probably even if you're not a martial arts. Martial arts, ease, Enter the Dragon. Yeah, you got to get the classic Bruce Lee. Saw this at the theater, back eating good old popcorn, enjoying all the and all that fun stuff. And John Saxon. And oh man, you can't say enough about this. You guys all know about this. It's been parodied to crap, and it's a great movie. It's just one of those that you can always put on, and you're watching a classic from the 70s. Really good, really good. I think that's a very good transfer on there, too. It was pretty crisp, and, it wasn't washed out with the grain. At least I don't think so. It's been a while since I've seen it. I got those other ones I got to watch of his, Bruce Lee's, that I haven't seen, that whole pack. This movie, man, his first movie, irreversible. Not going to say much about that. I don't have it on Blue, and I don't think it's even on Blue. But then he did Enter the Void, which visually, it's a bit long. It wanders a little too much, but excuse me. I absolutely love the opening credits. One, how they're backwards, and two, the visual editing and all the different fonts he used, and it's just great. Visually, like I said, his camera work, though CGI in a lot, and though very, very tampered with colors and the making of on here is really interesting because they show like what it originally looked like and all the color enhancements and things he's done. It's very interesting, but it's not for everyone because it has some pretty controversial, not really controversial because it is Gaspar Noé, but some sex stuff in it, and especially some very close-up sex stuff near the end, which at first viewing made me go, what? And then I laughed my ass off. And but like I said, I've tried watching this again. Well, tried. I just enjoy the eye candy. I mean, it's like if you don't have drugs and you want to have a druggy experience, just watch this, and the visuals are there. Especially if you wear headphones and you're all, surrounded and everything. I just visually like this. It's pretty to look at. It's eye candy, and I got it in my collection, and it's mine. Okay, this was like real recent. This came down real low in price. Real low price. And like I said, I always liked the Denzel. So I heard good things about The Equalizer. And I never watched a television show. I have no idea if this is even based. You know, the internet is so full of everything, and I don't always go and read. Like, again, I've told this in the past, I like going in movies fresh. I didn't even see the trailer to this. I just, I picked it up, and I enjoyed it. It was a great thing, and I hear they're making a second one with Denzel, and I'll probably pick that one up too. This one I got, I believe, from Canada. Yes, Canadian Home Video, because it was one of those situations where I didn't want to wait. They never released it. Well, they did eventually, but it wasn't released in the U.S., and I says, I got to get it because I really enjoyed the movie. Equilibrium. Some great fighting scenes in here. Christian Bale doing pretty good, protecting his little puppy, trying to. And a cool ass ending. It's kind of a cool, futuristic, dystopian type military and rules. And if you haven't seen Equilibrium, check it out. It's worth seeing. Oh, Criterion, you did it. You did it. Oh, I remember there was a DVD set, I believe, that came out that was extremely expensive, and it was just from David Lynch's website. You could only order it, and came with a disc with all like short films and things like that. And Criterion, I believe, sweeped in there and picked it all up, and he released this. They cleaned it up and did the 4K restoration, and it looks amazing in black and white. The photography, and it has all those little short films that were on that one DVD set. And Criterion, again, they know how to handle their films, and they did a fantastic job with Eraserhead. Let me see if there's anything. It's super. Well, of course it's super tight. I'm trying to get it out of the other end. Anyway, look at the engineer, and there's an egg, and then it opens, and of course, with Criterion, you get the nice, huge, thick book with all great information. And here's the old cover with, get the disc out so you can see the art, the empty bed. They're having little marital problems, and they got this unusual little child that won't stop crying. But man, what a movie. Saw this, it was like a second run, not really a second run theater as you think. It was more of a, what would they call that? Like a retro theater, where every day a different movie would be on the screen. And they would do odd pairings, like Eraserhead, and then the second movie that day was Wizard of Oz, But the thing about that theater was, I don't think I saw Wizard of Oz with this. I believe I saw Eraserhead with something else. It wasn't Rocky Horror, but it was one of those odd arty films. Rocky Horror is not really art. Anyway, well, some people might think. But this theater was great. It was called the Parkway. It was on the north side in Chicago, I believe just off Belmont or on Belmont. But we would travel out there. When I was in college, we would go out there and see movies on the big screen that you didn't see because you were too young. You can go see West Side Story or Clockwork Orange or something like that on the big screen, because back then all you had was video. DVD wasn't even out yet. So, and it was such a great idea for a theater. Every day they had a different movie. They must have rented them from some movie houses or something. And it was just a great theater. And I think they closed up. And I don't believe many of those type of theaters are around. Which is a shame, because it would be kind of cool that, every once in a while they do that. They just brought Jaws back. Or some theaters or IMAX theaters, although they're not IMAX, they'll just show the movie on the IMAX screen. They'll bring things like Die Hard or See It Again type of thing, like the Jaws one just now. But there's no place where they're actually playing, every day or every week different movies, and they're different older movies. Well, I got a couple of these, but they didn't release the one I really want. I hadn't seen any of these Really? There's 3 movies here. And I didn't see any of them until I bought the Blu-rays. But there's one that I would watch every year, along with my other Christmas movies, that I've been waiting for it to come out so I can add it to my Blu-rays of my Christmas movies. Most of the big classics are out, but this one isn't, and it's one of those that I watch. And these aren't very popular unless you grew up watching this guy. And of course I'm talking about, hey Ernest, hey Vern, what's going on? I got Ernest Scared Stupid, and the 2 others. Ernest Goes to Camp and Ernest Goes to Jail, which actually the last Muppets movie is this movie, but with Muppets. Yeah, 2 Kermits, bad guy, good guy, and, takes his place. Hilarity ensues. But anyway, my favorite is Ernest Saves Christmas. I don't know why. It's cheesy, it's dumb. It's got Ernest. Jim Varney, man. What a great character he created that was able to hook the public, and he even had a television show. When we get to the DVDs, I actually bought the complete Hey Vern, and that's surreal. That show. But his movies are crazy. I've watched these since I've gotten them, and they're a lot of fun. I mean, they're a product of its time, and Jim Varney's character, started with commercials, and those things were hilarious. You used to see these World's Funniest Commercials specials they would have, like outtakes and bloopers with Ed Norton, with Ed McMahon, and the other guy, Dick Clark. Poor Dick Clark. But anyway, why not poor Ed McMahon? He's gone too. Anyway, they would show those commercials because his Vern commercials were hilarious. Hey Vern, all the right in the camera type of thing, POV. And he went off and made these movies, these 4. Well, I think he actually has a couple more that haven't been on, but I haven't seen any of the later ones. And then he was Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies, god-awful movie remake thing, but we won't talk about this. I'm doing the head thing because I don't have a boom, boom. Anyway, Escape from New York. I just watched this recently. There's a What's Roger Watching with the Drinky video up there on YouTube. Go back and watch me laugh and watch me drunk. Anyway, this is the old Shout Factory. I actually changed the cover art to the original poster, which I believe I still have back there. I do have this one, and I also have the one where I think it's the advance. It's just like the close-up of the Statue of Liberty, and it's got handcuffs on, and then at the bottom has all the headshots of all the actors. But I like that shot. That's a cool shot. And then the other reversible is the new artwork. They did a beautiful job on this transfer. Even when I saw this movie in the theaters, the picture always looked very grainy, very dark, very muddy. Those scenes with the street people coming out of the sewers and all that, you could barely see that in the theater. And when they brought it on video and DVD, there were so many grainy, bad, dark copies. Oh, especially Pan and Scan, that old VHS, man. But now it's pristine. Now it looks beautiful. Very happy with that movie. I'm so glad Shout brought it out. Shout Scream. And of course, because I'm a completist in the Snake Plissken, I wouldn't even call this a guilty pleasure because I really don't care for it. There's a few. Actually, the only thing I really like in this movie is the ending. I love how he just screws everything and no power for nobody type of thing. And I was kind of hoping that Carpenter would come back, and there was a proposed sequel he was working on called Escape from Planet Earth, I think, where they were going to send Plissken up in space. I don't know. I remember reading in some magazine that, and but anyway, I picked up Escape from LA. It's got some really crappy blue screen, green screen effects, and it just misses. It misses. Bruce Campbell, cool. And he's a plastic surgeon, and he's making all these, and things are bad, and the scene is flat for me. The scene just doesn't play out. Steve Buscemi, great. He's like taking the Ernest Borgnine role, you know, and that surfing scene, man. Even the scene when they send him under the water through the effects are so bad. The CGI is so bad in there. It's very it's like they didn't have the budget for what Carpenter wanted to visualize. But it's got a kind of a cool score to it. And it's in the collection because it's Pliskin. What was the thing they would say in that? In the first one, I thought you were dead. Oh, I thought you were taller. I think that was... Ah, yes. Charlie Kaufman, another winner. And one of Jim Carrey's... You know, Jim Carrey has made so many... I'm talking about Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. This is a must-have movie. If you've ever been in a relationship and you can relate so much with this. Tons of extras on here. But, gosh, you know, Jim Carrey, like I said, he was the wacko. He came on the scene and took over comedies. And again, like I felt with, like I kind of still feel with Will Ferrell, he's just way too over the top for me. He's way too broad. Although even Will Ferrell did a few. Stranger Than Fiction is an amazing, great movie that will pull the tears out of you, and a cool concept for a flick. And he's tried to do some movies. What was the one where he was on the front lawn with all his stuff? I don't remember, but we're talking Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey has done like a handful of great movies that people, again, I think with the Adam Sandler. See, William Sandler. I'm thinking of Demon Knight, which is coming out in October. Anyway, with the he's done these movies and people didn't like them, like Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love. Or it's like, I want the funny guy. I don't want to see the serious guy. But he did this. He did Truman Show. He did The Majestic. And he's very good. He's very good actor. And he goes back and does the wacky stuff. He's still Dumb and Dumber 2. A little too old to be doing that kind of goofy stuff. I still got to get that for my collection just because I like the first one so much. And I need to see a train wreck. The Farrelly brothers, man, they went off and in another area that just isn't doing the Three Stooges. Anyway, must have for the collection. Get it? Oh, one of the last, probably, well, there's very, very, very few newer science fiction movies that are great. And this one I was blown away by, just as I was with Moon. This is the Europa Report, kind of a found footage, but we're kind of seeing broadcasts and things, but cool movie, man. Technically it looks very plausible, and it doesn't go the route that Sunshine did, Danny Boyle's Sunshine, which I love that movie. Oh, until the ending when it kind of turns into a killer, you know, and that, you know. Also, Event Horizon. When we'll get to the E's, I got some issues with that, even though that it's. Oh man, I wish they would bring out a full director's cut of Event Horizon. There's one out there, and there was rumors of it coming out. It hasn't come out yet. See now, I'm not going to say I lied. I'm just going to say I guess I didn't remember, and I'm a little more confused. Maybe because of well, it isn't because of it. Well, I just can't remember. But remember how I said I'm pretty alphabetical? It's kind of odd because I was thinking I did Clash of the Titans in the C's, but all my other Harryhausen movies are under R for Ray Harryhausen. I should have put Clash in that group, but I have it in the C's. And all my James Bond movies, you're probably going, where is this Bond movie? They're all like in a section with James Bond. They're not in the B's. They're not in the 007 numbers. They're just in their own little... And I do that sometimes with movies, you know. Like Night of the Living Dead is under N. But all the Romero movies after that, Dawn, Day, Diary, and Survival, they're all by the N's next to Night. You know, so I have a very odd... Why I want them that way. Maybe I'm thinking Night of the Living Dead, all the Romero, you know. But I came across European Vacation in the E's, and it really should be under the V's for vacation. And so should Christmas Vacation be with the V's? Or should it be with the N's for National Lampoon? I may have to try to... Or, no, I know where everything is. I'm not going to change it. Lesser of the... But it's part of the group, you know. It's the first one. It's the third Christmas Vacation. Hopefully the remake will... I don't want to see more Vacation sequels, but I just hope that one's going to be good. Oh, here we are. Event Horizon. Gee, is that in the E's or is that somewhere down the line? No, I did like this movie. It's pretty frightening in some spots. The recordings and the visual things, and it's like Hellraiser in space. I guess that's kind of how they called it, what they called it. But I like the whole black hole thing, but it's Paul Anderson, you know, so it's... He went on to do all the Res Evil, right? Right? Yeah. Yeah, because it's PT, and then it's PW. Right. One's great, one's schlock. But this wasn't a bad flick. I enjoy it. This has a whole bunch of extras on here. Oh, here, the Unseen Event Horizon with directed. Unfilmed, well, that's just one scene unfilmed. But anyway, I hear there's a director's cut that is supposed to make the movie a little better. I guess there were some complications with the studios when he was making it, and he had to do some things with it that he wasn't happy with. But someday we might see, you know, like we got Clive Barker's Nightbreed. Someday we might see a nice remastered director's cut of Event Horizon. Oh boy. Well, if you're a horror fan, no doubt you've already seen the trailer to Ash vs. the Evil Dead. It was outstanding. Comic-Con was just this last weekend. And they released, you know, Dawn of Justice, the Batman Superman movie, a trailer, and there was a bootleg of Deadpool out there that looks pretty interesting. Although they are really pushing that language hard R on that. So, of course, Evil Dead, you know. Evil Dead. Eco-crap. Reading Fangoria. Cover. I'll never forget that original cover where you're like the point of view of some deadite. And the skeletal hands are reaching out, and you see Ash with the girl, and you have a chainsaw or an axe. That was like the cover of the Fangoria I had that talked about Evil Dead. And I had to see it when it came out. And it played at a theater. It was called the Evergreen Plaza, which was a big mall, you know, back in the 80s. And it wasn't in the best neighborhood, but we won't get into that. What's a good neighborhood, what's a bad neighborhood. But there were some crimes and stuff. And I went and saw this and was blown away. This thing, the gore was over the top. You know the movie. It was, to me, a lot of people laugh at this. Well, now it's kind of gotten the reputation of being Evil Dead. It's a fun movie, and you know, Evil Dead 2 is a comedy and it's hilarious. Well, yeah, Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness are hilarious. But I think this one, they actually tried to do a serious, scary movie. And there are points in it. Boy, I've had lots of nightmares now that just came back. I remember having nightmares of being in a cabin like that. And there are creatures out there, you know, coming out of the ground, and you had to get somewhere and come back to the cabin so they wouldn't get you. I don't know. But anyway, I was pretty shocked by this. Not so much of the gore, but we're gonna get you. We're gonna, you know, and then when the first one's possessed and she's up in the air, and was kind of scary, you know. And anyway, I loved the movie. I went home, I called my buddy Terry, and I said, Terry, we got to go see this again. I want to see it again. I'm going to take you. You got to see this movie. And he was a horror fan. He was someone that I was hanging out around a lot with back then. So we went, and I'm watching it, and, oh, here goes a good scene. You know, I was one of those guys that said, watch, here it comes. And what was the first gore scene? I think it might have been the pencil in the foot, in the back of the... But wait, where's the gore? No, watching it along, going along. Oh, this is cool. This is the oh, I can't remember what scene it was, but it was another really gory scene, and it was cut. And I'm watching, I'm going, and then it got to a point where it wasn't near the end, but maybe it was the tree rape scene. It was cut. This ain't what I saw yesterday. And my buddy's like, I go, something's wrong here. And he's like, what do you mean? I go, there's stuff cut out of this. He's like, how can there be stuff cut out of this? It just came out Friday and it's Saturday. I'm like, no, something. The theater either got complaints or something, but they themselves took the print and they cut out. Maybe there was a projectionist that wanted those scenes or those frames for himself, and he snipped them, and so it was like there was no gore in the movie, and they did it themselves, the theater owners. So I said, dude, come on, we gotta go. And he's like, I'm watching the movie. No, we gotta go. Something's wrong. And I went out and I asked one of the ushers to let me talk to one of the managers, and I don't remember what he said, but he gave us free passes, you know, to come back and see a couple other movies or something. But I told him, I says, I just saw this movie yesterday, and there was blood and gore and heads flying, and I seem to kind of remember him going, yeah, but we had to change it, or the people were complaining, or something like that. But I really don't remember if he actually had a reason. But he just gave us 2 free passes, and I said, dude, we got to go see this in another theater because this is cut, and you're missing. And all the way home, I'm driving there saying, you know, you don't know what you were missing. There was so much cut out. It's such a great movie. And then... well, I don't care if this is damaged because I got, yeah. And then, of course, on Blu-ray, you had to get the sequel when it came out, and I got Evil Dead 2. Had to be like everybody else. Oh, look, it's got some extras. Looks kind of cool. Man, you know, Evil Dead was one of the most repeatedly brought out movies on DVD. They had so many different versions, the Book of the Dead version, just like Army of Darkness, the Boomstick edition, this edition, that edition. I don't think Evil Dead had on DVD different editions. I think it was pretty much the same with the skull face. I love this poster art, by the way. But anyway, I got this. I was very happy with it. Okay. But, you know, the tech people out there saying it's Terrell transfer and it looks bad and blah, 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 blah. So then they remastered it and they brought it out with the 25th anniversary edition with the original poster art, and had to get this because it looks fantastic. They even like erased some wiring and issues and stuff, although you can still see some like Ted Raimi's sweat coming out of his thing, or the thing in the back of the costume. But the eyeball, you used to see like a stick holding it, and that's been erased. And the transfer is just beautiful now. So this is like the quintessential, until they come out with another version, a 4K version or something. This is the Evil Dead 2 version that you want to get. It's got a bunch of extras on there. And yeah, everybody has this. If you're a horror fan, everybody has it, I'm sure. And then the remake came. And of course, with most remakes, I'm like, no, I don't need to see a remake. They're not going to be as gory as the last. And yeah, I don't have Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness I have not bought on Blu-ray at all. I still have my, I think it's an Anchor Bay version that comes with the director's cut disc. I'll talk about it now. Back in the, just the year, well, I'm not sure what the year is, but the year Army of Darkness came out, I went to a Fangoria convention with a buddy of mine, and Bruce Campbell was there. And of course, the line was pretty huge. Not as huge as it is now when you go to see him, but back then it was pretty good. And he was very friendly and jovial. He actually did a little, I asked him to say hi to a friend of mine who was in another part of the States, and I, put arms around, hey, how you doing, Kaiba Terry, look who I'm with, and, that type of thing. And he even made a little joke, that $20 you owe me, I'm still waiting. So Bruce Campbell's great. On the side of the table, he had all the Army of Darkness t-shirts and posters, and we got all those and autographs and stuff. But on the side, they had a monitor, and it was playing scenes from Army of Darkness. And the one scene that they were really playing the most complete, because it was like the parts of the movie, but there was like a complete scene, and it was the scene with the little ashes, where the mirror breaks and all the little ashes are running around. And I watched that, and I actually had a video cam, because I'm filming Bruce Campbell and the stuff at Fangoria, and I was in the back, no one knew, and I was filming it. Not that I was going to bootleg it or show it to anybody. I just wanted it for myself. And then when the movie came out, we went and saw it, which was very sad because there was maybe 5 people in the theater. When my brother, a friend of mine, and I went to saw Army of Darkness, there was nobody there, and which is really a shame because it's a funny-ass movie. And I'm guessing people just didn't know or didn't care. They didn't know who Ash was. There was no connection to Evil Dead in the title, so maybe horror fans didn't know or something. I don't know. Maybe it was just a bad day at the theater. But we went and saw it. And there was something different about those little men running around, those little ashes. There was parts cut out. Ash has a clean face, and all of a sudden there's little people doing stuff, and then he turns and his face is all dirty. And I go, well, that's from the soot of the pipe that hit him. And that scene is not in the... Wait a minute. Also, the scene where he's splitting into the 2 ashes, doing the running, the animated thing of the running, that wasn't in the print. I was like, well, this is kind of odd. And I went home and I watched the videotape at the convention, and it was like, it's there. So they had edited the thing. And when Army of Darkness came out, of course, that version wasn't out. It was the original theatrical version. I'm rambling, and I was going to make this short. I hope you appreciate these stories. But anyway, I'm so glad that they eventually did release the director's cut, because it does have a lot of extended scenes. There's more, the end battle with the main guy, the evil Ash. And I just hope that now that Shout Scream Factory has the rights, and they're going to release it this October, I believe, that they're actually going to get the director's cut and on there so I can get rid of the DVD. Anyway, Evil Dead Remake, didn't see it at the theaters, but I heard a lot of good things on it. I heard it was just as gory, very much a lot of practical effects, which is what you needed in an Evil Dead movie. And then one day, it got kind of cheap, down to the teens, and I picked it up. And I don't love it. I'm actually somewhat grossed out by a lot of the gore in here, which is fine. That's fine. But if I want to watch Evil Dead, I'll watch, one of the Bruce Campbells. I don't know. And I'm waiting for that television show. I can't wait. I'm not waiting. Oh, I am waiting, but I can't wait to see it. That trailer, 3-minute trailer, was just amazing. But anyway, I didn't get the fancy steelbook. Just got the regular version. Happy. Bright and shiny, happy. This is a definite guilty pleasure. This is one of those 90 actioners. I got this on Laserdisc one afternoon, not knowing anything about it. Went home. It was like, 2 in the afternoon, threw the Laserdisc on, had some popcorn, and had a great time with it. Executive decision. Guilty pleasure. The whole thing at the end with the straw and trying to land the plane. And it's all pretentious and, but Kurt Russell. You gotta love Kurt Russell. And Leguizamo and then Steven Seagal. Didn't expect that coming. And that was pretty badass when he got, spoilers, sucked out of the... Yeah. Everybody has this. Maybe. Maybe you didn't want to buy it because it's sacrilegious. The Exorcist. Yeah. Yeah, the classic. Look at that, Karis. And why you do this to me, Damie? Why you do this? Why you do this to me? Beautiful digibook. Not much to say. Got a little thank you for buying my disc. William Friedkin. Friedkin came to Columbia College and talked. Didn't go, but when I was attending Columbia, I didn't go to the thing to see him. I could have. I saw Leonard Nimoy at Columbia College. He was in town to do the, was it Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci, some stage play he was doing. And I was right in the front row, and he was right there, and I got a shot. Somewhere in one of my What's in the Boxes, I got an 8x10 shot of, it was around Body Snatchers, because he was still wearing like the tweed jacket with the patches on the shirt. It was like, you just came from the movie set. Anyway, 78 Body Snatchers. Exorcist. What can I say about that? Doesn't scare me. Doesn't scare me. Yeah, it doesn't scare me. I saw it at the theater. It was pretty creepy at the theater because the theaters in downtown were like in the Loop, and the Loop is this railway system that goes around the city, the elevated trains, and or the tubes, as they say in England. Although this is elevated, I don't know. I don't know. And whenever the trains would go by, when you were in the theater watching a movie, you heard the rumble of the train. You didn't really know it was a train. You just felt this low rumble. So when we were watching Exorcist for the first time in that theater, United Artists it might have been, you would every once in a while get this low rumble, and it would be like, is that in the movie, or what's that noise? It's the theater falling down? But I believe this has both versions. I believe this has, the extended director's cut and the original theatrical. I'm kind of mixed on which one I want to watch. The little subliminal face in the thing popping up, I kind of liked. Her coming down the stairs just seems to throw off the pacing of the original scene. It's cool that it's in there. But I like it. It's great. I enjoy the transfer. It's still a creepy movie, but it doesn't scare me. Like ghost movies. Ghost movies really don't scare me. I'm the kind of guy that gets scared. I don't know if I talked about this. I'm the kind of guy that is kind of freaked out by more real horror, like psychological or strangers. L's. I call it L's, but there was an American remake. What was that called? Where these people were trying to kill this couple in the house, and then it turns out they're kids. I saw the original, I believe it was French film, Ills. And that thing freaked me out because it's like anybody could just be trying to get at you in your house and screw with you. And, Chainsaw. That's why I love Chainsaw, because it's this... You're in the middle of nowhere farmlands, and you just got this one family that's doing these weird little things, and you just don't want to get mixed up with them because, Anyway, Exorcist, devil stuff doesn't scare me. I shouldn't say that because I'll probably having something happen. This, I had the Canadian DVD of this because it had more extras when DVDs were the hit. And then I'm glad it finally came out on Blu-ray. Cronenberg, he's made some really great horror movies. And recently he's been doing some really good drama movies. Eastern Promises, An Act of Violence. He did a couple recently, which I can't think of right now. And of course he starred as the main killer, the main killer in Nightbreed. I thought he did a great job because he was so timid and nice. You must do these and take these pills. But then that mask is cool. Has anybody ever gone to a convention? Has anybody ever dressed like him, the killer with the button eyes, and that's a creepy ass mask. Anyway, I'm talking about existence. Wait a minute. Gotta wet my whistle. 3 more, folks. Existence. You know what it is. I love this movie. It was right around the time I started playing like computer games, like Alone in the Dark, and you know, like if you would pause your character while you're playing, they would either do like the same motions or something. You know, they're just in the pause mode until you start moving the cursors and the things. And being that this is like a gamer thing, that wow, there's so many great stuff in there. The gun, the chicken bone gun, and oh man, I'd love to have a replica of that. And the blobby thing that plugs in, that's cool. I'm surprised no one's made something like that at one of the conventions, you know. But there's a scene in here like where the characters are going through, and the one character they're talking to, they just kind of like stop, and they're repeating themselves, and they're just moving, not like a robot, but you know. And and the character says, "Well, you have to ask the right question, and then he'll continue," type of thing. And that reminded, and I connected so much with that. Plus, I love the false realities. Like, this is happening, but really it's this. But then this is really what's happening. The little ending that happens. It's cool. It's a cool movie. If you haven't seen Existence, really check that one out. These 2 are guilty pleasures. I'm going to whip them out. I'm going to talk about them, not whip anything out. Real quick. Then I got one more. I just bought these because I grew up watching these guys, and Expendables 1 and 2. Did not pick the 3rd one up. Maybe when it comes down to like $5 I will. But and actually Mel Gibson does pretty good in that 3rd one. But these are, you know, good sound, good, not great stories. Kind of ridiculous, but it's kind of cool. The concept was cool. Get all these old-time action stars that are old and put them in another kick-ass movie. And the first one was popular. They did a 2nd. They did a 3rd. And now there's a talk of an Expendables, where they're going to have all the female actioners, your Michelle Yeoh and your Sigourney Weaver. Would she come back? But anyway, yeah, they're fun. They're fun. Guilty pleasures, you know. It's me. It's Roger. I like it. You like yours. I like mine, you know. And I picked this up. Kind of wasn't greatly pleased with it the first time I seen it. But I definitely bought it because Kubrick was a visionary. And his last movie, unless you want to call AI, which he kind of wrote with Spielberg, but I consider this his final film. There's a fantastic, is it a documentary or a mini-series? I think it's just a documentary that came out, maybe good 4 or 5 years ago, called Kubrick's Boxes. Look it up online, or it might even be on YouTube, on the tube. It's called Kubrick's Boxes. And what it is I'm not even going to really get into it, but somebody wants to do some research on Kubrick, and they found boxes and boxes and boxes of storage in his storage, in Kubrick's original storage, that has everything from every one of his movies, scripts, notations, changes, props. Like this movie, they found, there's a scene with Tom Cruise walking through the streets, and Kubrick actually sent somebody out there, spent thousands of dollars to photograph like maybe a mile of the street, and just photograph each building, and then they went back to the studios or whatever, and he had them put all on the wall so he could plan how he wanted, where he wanted Cruise to go, stop, what building to go into, type of thing. And then it turned out they never used that. Again, I'm not getting the full story right, but it's just amazing to see what is in that Kubrick's Boxes documentary about Stanley. I'm glad this came out totally unrated with the nude scenes. That was the way the first time I saw it, and then when it came out, they had the fake people standing in front of the scene so you couldn't see it type of thing. Kind of like the old on TV back in the day when they wouldn't really show porn. They would, you know, like where there would be a close-up of some penetration, they had like a bedpost, a fake bedpost in the way so you couldn't see it. And then they were able to air it on TV back in the day. On TV was, in Chicagoland, the first cable system we had, pay cable. Anyway, I'm wandered. And we're at the end. But yeah, I haven't watched this yet again. I got it because it was cheap. After the Kubrick box came out, they started releasing all the movies separately, like for $9 or something. And I picked this up because I needed to have it. And like I said, I haven't watched it again. I plan to when I'm in a Kubrick mood, but visually his, you know, framing, it's like Wes Anderson. I'm not too big of a Wes Anderson fan, but I do have Grand Budapest, and that thing is visually, I love it. Although it's very Kubrickian, where everything is the static shot, where everything is perfectly framed, and you know, I just have an issue with Wes Anderson. I'll get into that maybe when we get to Grand Budapest. But anyway, that's the Ease, folks. This was going to be it. I mean, there was not many movies, but I talked my way into an hour. Sorry. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And if you just stumbled across this channel, please subscribe. Please like the video. Like I said, I'm glad you guys are watching these and enjoying them. And without mentioning names, shout out to everybody that did. And again, thanks for watching. Tune in for the... Oh my God. F is going to be so effing long. F is one full shelf. And the D's were 1.5 shelves. So they're not as many as the D's, but there is still quite a few. And knowing old Roger D here, your pal, no doubt he's going to go off on his tangents and wander and think of tidbits from his younger days when he saw these movies. Anyway, guys, I'm talked enough. It's an hour. Thanks for... Why am I waving? Thanks for watching. Please come back and tell your friends. Share the videos to your other movie friends and say, hey, look at this guy. He's got a cool collection and he talks about his movies and whatever. And he gets drunk. Well, I'm not drunk at all. This was my, you know, it relaxes me. I just came home from work. It's hot out. It's like in the upper 80s. And I had the air on until I set everything up. Now I just turned the air off. Now I'm going to go put it back on. And I just need a little something to relax me so I can talk to you guys. Now I'm going to go watch the rest of Silicon Valley, which has been on my viewing list for a while. The show has ended. The last season has ended, but I haven't seen them yet. I'm actually halfway through the season. I just finished Penny Dreadful, which I really enjoyed this season of Penny Dreadful. I liked where it went. I thought there were some really great scenes. The blood dance scene, and then there's a scene between Billie Piper and the Frankenstein monster guy that she has this monologue, which is amazing. You know, kneel before me, and that was pretty cool. And I kind of really liked the show. I love the atmosphere of it. It's very Gothic-like, and I like the idea that all these fictional characters, Frankenstein, Baron Frankenstein, Larry Talbot, Dorian Gray, they're all like combined and know each other, and yet they don't know. Well, some know about the others, but anyway, I enjoyed that season, and yeah. Anyway, shut up, Roger. Bye, folks. Thanks for tuning. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the F's. We'll see you in the F's. Damn it, you better be there. I should look there. You better be there. All right, guys. Thanks. Have a great day. Happy birthday if today is your birthday. Hey, it might be your birthday, so happy birthday from Roger D. Anyway, guys, Have a good one. Bye.